So my favorite book would probably be by Tennessee Williams, The Glass Menagerie. It's uh, it's a book with deep personal connection between the main character, Tom, and the author. It holds deep regret, deep guilt on a personal level as far as the author is concerned. It holds a special place in my heart because it is one of the books that I read when I was an undergraduate in school. And I had to write a 15,000 word critical analysis on this book, on all its symbolism, on all its general meanings and analogies that we can reflect in the real world. My favorite word in English? Well, it would be hard to come up with just one. So let's just use the longest word in the English language. And that is, ready? Pneumo-ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. It has 45 letters. So, my first teaching experience was when I was in high school. And as a volunteer, I taught kids starting from KG1 up until grade 4 or grade 5, something like that. I needed to do that in order to get the necessary amount of hours as a volunteer in order to graduate with good grades. And I was extremely inspired by their dedication to their work, by how their teachers nurtured them and took care of them, how they had been taught to respect whatever teacher came in, whether it was a high school senior or whether it was a shadow teacher or a teacher from another school or a new teacher, in fact. It never mattered. And I figured that that's something that I would love to do potentially in the future. And that's where my love for teaching started, when I was in high school, while still being a student, still having teachers on the back of my neck running after me to achieve my results. So my favorite film would probably be the film called Awakenings. The main character there is played by Robin Williams, and the other one is Robert De Niro. It is a hugely symbolic film to me because it very accurately reflects the inner crisis of the modern human being in terms of how we see ourselves within the society that we find ourselves in, how we see each other within the society that we find ourselves in, how we see the world around us, and how the world around us sees us. I think it's an extremely beautiful film. It's very symbolic of what we notice and what we don't, what we pay attention to and what we don't pay attention to. And it's based on a true story, so who doesn't love something like that? I think the biggest mistake students make when learning English is their reluctance to speak. This reluctance to speak is often the result of fear and inner discomfort, fear of judgment, fear of making a mistake. And this always leads to a less amount of time that you could be instead using in practicing English. In this school, students have the opportunity to speak to various teachers in English. They have the opportunity to speak to a native English speaker. Most importantly, they have a fantastic opportunity to communicate among themselves in English, because the level of English is more than sufficient for day-to-day communication. And so I feel that oftentimes students do not utilize this opportunity that they have in front of them clearly, instead choosing to fall back on their comfort, which would be Russian or Uzbek or whatever language they speak at home, to fall back on this little comfort and not get out of their little box. I feel like that is a huge mistake when learning any foreign language. It doesn't have to be just English. Any foreign language, I think, requires a lot of practice, a lot of communication, speaking skills. And in an environment where speaking is not only encouraged, it is supported in every single way, shape, and form, not utilizing this luxury of the opportunity to be able to communicate with teachers and peers in their target language would be a huge mistake, in my opinion. So, what advice would I give my teenage self? It would probably be not to hold grudges and resentments towards my teachers, because my teachers always wanted what's best for me, just the same way that we as teachers now want what's best for our students. And at that age, I was too young to understand. I was too immature and too self-centered to see the bigger picture. And so instead of doing as I was recommended, I chose to hold resentment and hold grudges against my teachers, which negatively affected my scholastic performances.